Hey folks, walk with me. Well, I know I put out some evening videos lately. This is actually, as you can probably tell by the birds if you can hear them. Ah, beautiful. Um, this is a pre-sunrise video. So we're in the early morning hours today, which is cool. I've had something on my mind for several months, maybe even a couple years. And I finally thought, oh, I should just put this on the Walk With Me playlist. Trump's second term here. I've been thinking about the ways in which a second Trump term, had he just won, well, hold on, let me carve out space for the people who are just gonna tell me he did win. Okay, so if he won in 2020 and there was just rampant fraud and cheating in order to get Biden in the White House, and then they didn't do it again in 2024 because who knows why. But if there was that cheating, then I wish the Democrats hadn't cheated. If he did just lose a free and fair election, as they say, then I'm almost wondering if people who are, we could euphemistically say, people who are displeased with Trump 2.0, I honestly think they would have been better off if Trump had just won in 2020. If he was going to get a second term, it should have just come in 2020, because he would have been in office for 4 years already. He was obviously struggling with how to manufacture an administration to his liking, like from the ground up. Like essentially, he wasn't sort of like shrewd and jaded enough. And those 4 years in between allowed him the time, probably the understanding that distance provides, and enough voices in his ears, right? People who could see things from the outside and go, you know how you really screwed up in your first administration is you allowed John Bolton in, right? You allowed, is it General Kelly? I mean, there's so many people who flew in and out of that administration that had short-lived tenures. It's hard to remember everyone. But, my guess is there were enough people in his ear during those 4 years in between that those people, in a way, this is going to sound weird, in a way helped radicalize him, right? And told him, when you get in there again, you need to just throw in extreme loyalists, right? You can't take any of these garbage holdovers or legacy folks. And that gets us in a big way to where we are now. And then also the sort of sense of venom and vitriol that I think is apparent, largely based on the lawsuits, right? All the legal sledgehammers that were coming down, and were threatening him in that way, or probably made him feel threatened in that way, and very much probably solidified this concept of friend and foe, enemy and not enemy. I don't know. I don't know that he has something other than an enemy or a not enemy, or an adversary or a not adversary. But yeah, I think it very much gave him this sense of like needing to go in with a heavier hand this time, needing to go in and just absolutely dominate every aspect, not leave any stone unturned, not leave anything up to chance, and accept nothing from anyone who he didn't deem to have his top to bottom, A to Z, quote unquote, best interest at heart. In other words, just a pure through and through loyalist above all, right? And if you thought that he was like ever presently focused on who's loyal to me before, right, in 2016 and 2017, I think it's like 10,000x at this point. It is so extremely amplified for all of those reasons that I just described, that I think, I think it is an extreme version of the first Trump. And I think that if the first Trump had just rolled into the second Trump, I don't think that it would be near the extreme version that we're seeing now. Maybe there would be a little bit. I mean, everyone had a little bit of something coming out of COVID, right? We see what it did to like the Elons and the Joe Rogans of the world, and so everyone had something coming out of that, for sure. It just was a wide spectrum or broad spectrum, and so I think that would have certainly had an impact, and I think sort of the constant churning of people in and out of the administration would have had an impact as well. But I think ultimately he would have felt like he was 2 for 2, even if he didn't get the popular vote, that he was 2 for 2, and he was going to go out as a back-to-back, as long as you could be in office, president, and be sort of, I don't know about thrilled with that is the right term, but he was going to feel that would do as much as it could do to solidify his legacy as the greatest person to ever live, or whatever it is that he has as a view of himself. And so, sorry, I'm obviously wandering all over the place here, physically, because I'm walking the dog. So if that wasn't apparent, you're like, whoa, where's Dan going here? Yeah, it's because I have the dog and he's sniffing around, and I'm talking about these things and not focusing on getting him to move in the right direction. So in any case, yeah, I do think it's been and probably other people have pointed this out, and this isn't a novel thought at this point, but again, I've been thinking this for quite a while. Never dawned on me to make a video about it, but I think if you had just rolled 2016 winning Trump into 2020 winning Trump, in a way that feels disrespectful of the electorate, of the American people, in a way I think you would be free of it by now. You'd have him at almost 80 years old, still trying to call the shots and invoke a lot of influence. But, yeah, I don't know exactly what it would look like, but he would in many ways be a bit of a fly in the wall, right? And would have left room for emergence of something beyond Trumpism, because I don't know that Trumpism exists really well. I mean, I've been thinking a lot about this. I don't really know what it looks like beyond Trump. Feels very much like singularly focused on one person, and I don't know who else could or would really be able to get away with the stuff that he gets away with. We certainly see like Elon not being able to do it, not that he can run for president until they change those laws. I don't know. I would say one of his kids, just because they bear the name, but I mean, I think it's so deep rooted in personality and just sort of sheer structural self-confidence and willingness to dismiss any other considerations. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a topic for another video. But again, in a way that's very unfair and not okay to the American electorate and the American public. If he had just won in 2020, I think he there's a chance at least that he would largely be a fly in the wall, and wouldn't have become this like vindictive, very hyper controlling individual that he seems to be at the moment. All right, folks. Well, if you watched this far or walked along, I certainly appreciate it. And as always, I will see you in the next video.